Hello, thank you for tuning in and taking time from your day to participate in the latest in our series of CDSG webinars, Solutions for Secure, Removable, NVMe Storage. As usual, we have viewers from all over the world, and I hope everyone is well and able to find some time to get outdoors and enjoy the summer of 2020. My name is Chris Krull. I am the Director of Marketing at the CRU Data Security Group, the parent company of the CRU removable storage brand. CRU has been entrusted to secure and transport sensitive data for over 30 years with our removable storage devices. You'll find our products in the hands of well-known organizations and government agencies all around the world. Before I introduce our guest speakers, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. First, everyone except our presenters will be muted throughout the session. You will have the opportunity to post questions throughout the webinar. You'll find a question and answer section on the right-hand portion of your streaming window. We'll address as many questions as we can at the end of today's presentation. And at the end of the session today, we will announce our next CDSG webinar topic. And our last housekeeping item is to let you know that we will send out a survey after the webinar, as we certainly welcome your feedback. Today, we are pleased to have both Robin Wessel and Brian Murray join us to discuss the products and technology incorporated into the new Secure High Performance Storage, or SHIPS, platform from CRU. The SHIPS platform is an ecosystem that provides removability for NVMe-class SSD technology. With the SHIPS platform, you can easily and securely remove and replace data between a wide range of devices. Robin Wessel is our Executive Vice President at CDSG and leads the sales, marketing, and engineering organizations, as well as the overall strategic direction of our company. Brian is a Channel Sales and Business Development Manager at CDSG, and he works with key OEMs, system builders and integrators, and resellers to implement and deploy a wide range of removable storage solutions. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to Robin and Brian.
Thanks, Chris, and hello, everyone, and thank you for attending this webinar. Today, we're going to talk about three things about SHIPS. First off, what's driving the market? What's driving us to develop this new technology for you? There's, as you know, a number of different changes in storage as the migration of regular traditional storage to solid state, and talking about how SHIPS supports that. We're going to talk next about the SHIPS platform itself, what it entails, the actual products that make up SHIPS, and lastly, how you can incorporate this technology into your systems or solve your problems, and talk about the product availability, and we'll close with a number of questions and answers. So first, let's talk about the marketplace. What's driving the changes in the market? And I'm sure that as you've seen in the past number of years, a dramatic shift in traditional, as I like to call them, spinning pieces of rust, mechanical hard drives to solid state storage. And this change has been happening for years and years and years. And the forecast here, IDC, I pulled just a number of any available forecasts there, forecasting about a 54% compound annual growth for over the next couple of years. We're forecasting well over 10% shift in the market from traditional mechanical to SSD. As you know, what's driving this, of course, is a lot of data center storage, mobile devices, IoT devices, the shrinking form factors of systems, and of course, the need for increased speed and performance that NVMe and SSD create. So that is really changing the way that people use storage and employ storage. And as you know, CRU for a number of years, we have offered a lot of products that support traditional mechanical based storage devices. And then recently we've had with our QX series, QX310, the ability to have solid state storage. And we realized that we needed to develop a technology that supported the NVMe based technology in a much more robust way. So that's what spawned the technology of SHIPS. The traditional drives and NVMe, it uses completely different standards. Hard drives, traditional mechanical hard drives, use SATA. They used IDE before. And we've had that for quite some time. But solid state storage, until now recently, traditionally uses now PCI Express, a significantly faster architecture for storage. There's migration from SATA to PCIe, and we're seeing tenfold increases in speed. The challenge, though, with PCI Express is that PCI Express was really never designed around a storage architecture per se. You often see it with video cards and other types of add-in cards on your computer. So because it was never designed as storage per se, it has a number of challenges, like the integrity of the signal. It's extremely high speed, and things like removability were never fathomed in its design. So here you can see in that rather complicated diagram on the right, when you need to make storage removable, you have to introduce a number of little connectors. You've got to take what is often the storage on the motherboard, move it through a connector, a host bus adapter, a cable that goes to a frame that holds the module, and the module itself. And the module itself may also have the NVMe memory inside it. A number of interconnections, and all of those interconnections have the potential to degrade or modify the signal to the point where the system may not work anymore. So what used to be a technology for removability with SATA and others that was, I would call, mix and match, has now moved into a technology that requires it to be a complete system that's been certified and thought out end to end. That includes the host bus adapter cards, the cabling, and the entire connectivity of the removable system as a complete certified system to ensure it working. If you don't, you run into the risk of getting the parts mix and match, and you may luck out, it may work, or more likely, it may not actually work, and thus you're going to be guessing as to what part is causing that degradation in the signal, and time wasted, not happy getting it connected. So that's where we said, you know what, we need to offer this as a complete system end to end. Have everything packaged together, host bus adapters, cabling, and of course the docking system all in one, so it's complete and ready to go, so that you don't need to mix and match and figure it out yourself. So that's what spawned the concept of ships. And if we move to the next slide here. And so with ships, there's a number of different markets that we thought that's changing the way that people are using memory, and Brian's going to talk about that.
Yeah, and thanks, Robin, and thanks everyone for joining. I appreciate you being here. As you see, we've identified 3 different customer bases where we believe ships is going to be a useful tool for them. We actually have a foothold in all 3 of these marketplaces already with our traditional customer, our traditional products, but we really think that footprint's going to grow up exponentially because of ships. One area I want to touch on first, kind of Robin alluded to the QX310 before, but we have a really great relationship in our traditional customer base is our OEM marketplace. The major PC manufacturers are custom system builders. We're in constant communication with them all the time about their their requirements for next generation systems. As they change shape and size, we need to change shape and size with them to allow for removability. Same thing goes for media type, right? NVMe started coming on the scene back, Robin's graph showed 2015. Around 2017 is when we started talking about having an NVMe platform. Robin referenced it, the QX310. We learned a lot about the signal integrity and all those different things. One of the biggest things we learned about, or we kind of realized we could take advantage of, is the size and the weight of the module or the NVMe drive itself. These are really, really, really small pieces of media. We don't need a large, bulky, what you guys would know as a carrier, what we're calling a module now anymore. And our OEMs really helped us kind of identify that as a selling piece. And I think it's something that will help us move into some of these other marketplaces into some of these smaller computer systems that are out there. And as we look at, first off, our military customers, Benny, if you want to move over to the next slide for me. One thing that we really had to consider is the two different types of operating environments for the military, right? We've got their static environments, their office spaces, their command and control centers, and their need for just a regular desktop. And that module doesn't need to be anything more than just a commercial module. But then if you look forward, their forward deployed downrange type computer environment, it's a lot different. They're tactical computers. They've got a need for military grade performance, but they can't necessarily have the cost that goes along with it. So we decided that we needed to come up with a rugged module, and Robin's going to talk about some of the tech specs that go along with all the different components here down the road. But we needed to have a rugged module that provided the mil-spec performance, but also in that commercial off-the-shelf price, that palatable price that the military can look to use. And again, the module is going to be the centerpiece of the entire ship's platform. If you want to move over to the next slide for me too, as well. You can see here that we have it nicely done right here in the middle of the entire the slide. But now that the module is that big, we can put this module into something like an edge device, a handheld tactical type device. It can go into a tactical computer and go to a desktop. So if the module is the centerpiece, the cornerstone of ships is going to be its interoperability. That's the ability to go from an edge device to a desktop, from a tactical computer to a notebook, and draw a line between any of these different devices. As long as there's a ship's docking interface, that module will be able to go into any of those different devices, and is why we think that the DoD is going to standardize on ships for their computing ecosystem. Similarly, the industrial application has that same need for rugged. Think about autonomous vehicles, think about drones, things of that nature, where they're going out into the world, they're collecting information. On the back end, they need to run some type of analytics on the data that they collect. So think about the workflow. The drone goes out, it collects data, it comes back. The speed and performance of the NVMe drive is something they're looking for. The size and the weight of the drive is something they need to consider. So now Ships is able to provide that for them. And on the back end, they can walk into a data center as long as they've got that docking interface and that have that interoperability approach. They just and then they can work from there. So industrial is going to benefit greatly from Ship's platform as well. And as it relates to our OEM customers, on to the next, please, Benny. Thank you. Some things never change, right? Our traditional customers, our end users, are people that need to secure classified or highly sensitive data. But now they want it to be on an NVMe drive. Our OEM customers will now have that opportunity via the Ships platform. We're going to have that same longevity that they've come to expect from us for those long tail programs that are around for 5 to 7 years, that durability. This is not removing the data once in a while. This is high touch, high frequency removability. So they're going to have that ability to have NVMe performance, durable products, and long-term availability via our Ships platform. One last thing I wanted to touch on before we flip it back to Robin is another area where they might be able to benefit is the media and entertainment space. We have a footprint there in the digital distribution of movies to the world. One area where we didn't do a lot of work with the media and entertainment space is the post-production side of things, because we didn't, the media wasn't there to support it, the drive speed, the high-speed performance of NVMe. Now that exists, think about those high-performance computers that our OEM partners are selling to the digital editors of the world, and now they've got the opportunity to use the Ships platform. So another marketplace that maybe our Ships platform will take hold and kind of revolutionize the way they do their work. So I'll leave it to Robin to tell you more about the tech specs.
Thanks, Brian. So as we mentioned earlier, Ships is a complete ecosystem, and here's kind of a family portrait of all of the products that, and actually this is part of the products that we will be offering as we build out the ecosystem. And I'm going to go into a little more detail on each of these products. But first, let me just kind of describe this family a little bit more. First off, we've got at the top, we've got the frames and modules, and we're going to be introducing a rugged module and a standard module, as well as multiple different base sizes. On the bottom, we're going to have a number of different host bus adapters. On the lower left, we're going to have a traditional host bus adapter, just a standard 1x PCI card. We also plan to announce a 4x card, 4x16 card, so we can bifurcate the bus and have all and split those lanes to enable very, very high speed performance in PCIe via the edge card. We're also planning to support hot swap capability with that card. Talk some more about that card in a minute. More likely connection is going to be via a traditional M.2 motherboard adapter, the kind that's on the motherboard for the M.2 where it adapts on. And you can see it's a break off, so it can adapt to different lengths, 2280, 110, etc. And connects on, and then it connects via all of these cards will connect via an Oculink cable. Now, this isn't just any Oculink cable. This is a specifically designed, tested, built cable that is certified with the complete system. So again, ships will be a combination of the host bus adapter, the cabling, the frame, and the modules that make up a complete system. All of these interoperate, so you can mix and match within that ecosystem. So you can use one host bus adapter with one of our frames and modules. The rugged modules, standard modules, all interoperate. You can take the cards in and out very easily. In fact, our vision for this ecosystem is not unlike what you probably find with a SD card in a digital camera. So you're probably familiar with that traditional SD card. You can take that card and put it in just about any camera, and you can slide into your laptop or other device. So what the SD card is to the camera market, our vision for ships is that we're in effect, that interoperable standard for high performance industrial, military, and OEM applications where you need high-speed NVMe, security, as well as robustness. So that's what ships will be. And again, because it is such high speed, we need to consider it as a complete system. Example I'd like to use is you take a traditional car that you might find, like let's say a Toyota Corolla. Nothing wrong with that. Great car. If you go get tires, you could probably go to just about any tire store and get tires for that. Pretty inexpensive. Works great. However, if you want to get high performance, you might get a sports car, let's say a Ferrari. And I liken this a bit to the Ferrari, is that if you need to get tires for that, you got to get special tires. There's tires that are optimized and designed for the suspension and the handling of that car. So you can't go to the regular store and buy that. It has to be a complete system. So again, why we are developing this as a complete system is because of that high performance nature. So let's get into the modules here. We're going to be introducing 2 different module types with ships. On the left is the commercial module, and that's probably going to be our most popular. And this is available today, right now. We've got development kits available with that, samples, etc. And then later on this year, we'll be offering the rugged module. Both of these interoperate, so you can use these modules, mix and match between systems. So you may use a commercial module in a rugged environment and vice versa. But let's talk about what's common about these. First off, they're going to be offered in a number of standard capacities, 512, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. And as demand, need, and NAND density increases, we're going to be offering it in higher capacities, 4, 8 terabyte capacities in the future. Today, it is a PCIe Gen 3 because that's what's available in really from a complete system on the computer. But it is designed to be PCIe Gen 4 capable. So as Gen 4 parts, modules, memory, and motherboards are PCIe Gen 4, this system will adapt and be upgradable to Gen 4. As I mentioned before, it's cross-compatible. And what really sets this technology apart from other removable technologies is its robustness with mate and demate. What I mean by that is insert and remove. I don't know if you're aware that a lot of systems are based on traditional actually using the M.2 connector that is the actual physical connection to the system. And that's really only rated for about 60 cycles, really 30 times in, 30 times out. And if you're using this in let's say a demanding environment or an environment where it's a critical need is to air gap or secure that data or transport it on a daily or weekly basis, it's going to be very quick. That expensive module is going to quickly wear out. We've designed this connector with in a very rugged design. Not only is it a very robust connector itself, but the way we insert it and remove it, a bit like the docking station on the International Space Station, it does it very smoothly and cleanly to ensure it doesn't distort or potentially damage that connection. And we've demonstrated in the lab well over 100,000 mate-demate cycles, and we've actually rated this, and we're supporting warranting this for over 20,000. Suffice it to say, I think we did some calculations. If you use it literally every day, we're talking 20+ years of full-time use. I think of multiple lifetimes when it comes to the technology world. So those are the SHIPS module. Again, commercial module, perfect for everyday commercial use. It's going to be designed for office, regular desktop applications. The rugged module is going to be optimized for field deployed environments that are going to get a beating, and we're going to have mil-spec certifications on that module. So for things like waterproofness, water resistance, dust, drop, impact, vibration, etc. So for those environments that demand that, we'll have that both offered, and again, similar capacities. Next part of the SHIPS architecture that we're going to be offering initially is the QX448 frame. A bit of a mouthful in terms of word, but there is a bit of logic to our naming. So QX is our SSD series. 4 is denotes the series and the number of bays. So you can see we've got 4 bays in this. So we're going to so it's really designed around pretty robust environments that really need a lot of in and out capability with modules. Not to say that you have to use all 4 bays, but they are available, and we wanted to, I think, kind of overachieve, as it were, in with our first SHIPS offering. This is going to be a 5¼ bay mount, so designed for traditional desktop workstations and other types of computers. And you can see on the rear of that we have 2 power connectors and those Oculink interfaces. So individually connect all 4. And you can connect those to various types of host bus interfaces for high performance computing. You see those very, very robust fans in the back, and we've designed this so that all 4 of these drives can be running, and you won't be getting any throttling or other degradation with that. So this is going to be the first of our modules that we're offering, frames that we're offering. And the other frame that we're going to be offering very shortly, probably next month, is going to be a optical ODD or a 9mm ODD bay solution. So that's going to be work for those who have those 9mm ODD bays, as well as other custom applications where you might want to make that type of slot available. So this is available now in a development kit for production, and the ODD version will be available in about a month. This webinar is here in about mid-July, so by about mid-August of 2020, we'll have those available in production and development kits. We've passed all of the certifications, and they're ready to test. So what else do we have available? Well, we've also got a what we call an ICD or a interface control document. And what that is, it's going to specify all of the mechanical and electrical parameters of the ship system, so that if you would like to design this technology in, whether it's our current technology, our 448, or the module, or design in a custom frame solution, we have the tools and documentation necessary to do that. So as Brian showed earlier, we've got tactical computer applications where, let's say, it's a vehicle or aircraft or other, where it's not a traditional form factor and you'd like to incorporate chips. We have the documentation that will allow you to get that connector package, the design parameters, so that you can incorporate that module into your system. And you gain the benefit of being in that ecosystem, and now you can take that card and move it to other computers and mix and match very, very easily. So this designing package is available on our website. So if you go to cruinc.com, you go to Ships, Ships will have a portal that you can sign up and log in and access these documents. So very, very easy. So well, let's talk a little bit about some of the design parameters that we had with Ships here. And one of the things that Ships and NVMe memory, is a challenge is heat. And show the next slide. And heat, dissipating heat is critically important when we design this solution. And so one of the things that we're taking great care in is designing the module itself in terms of the way that it thermally interfaces with the memory, the cooling solution, and the interfacing within the frame to ensure that the system will not throttle. And we don't, as you know, throttling can slow down and kind of takes away all the advantages of NVMe, and we wanted to ensure that works that way. So a number of very specific design characteristics there we have with regards to thermal. In addition, as I mentioned earlier, those interconnections to ensure PCIe compliance throughout the system. So how does what kind of advantages does it nets out? There are other options available, as you're probably aware, in terms of technology. So what are some of the big competitive advantages we believe when it comes to Ships? Well, first off, as I mentioned a few times earlier, it's PCI certified. So it's a complete system. So what does that mean for you? It means it's super easy to integrate. You don't have to deal with the trial and error and the engineering effort to create a complete system. So we've done that legwork for you. We've done that engineering so that you know and have confidence that this will be a PCIe certified system going in. And again, if it's not certified, it's not that you don't have a piece of paper that's PCI certified, it won't work. It will actually not link and the system will not operate. Next thing is interoperability. As Brian mentioned earlier, all these different applications, where you're taking downrange computing to the command center or the office, a vehicle, like an autonomous vehicle, and taking and unloading, offloading that data. You're going to be managing and moving that data between different devices. And additionally, as you know, fewer parts to have to manage makes it easier. We're going to be supporting these parts for some years. So for long tail programs, we can support that. It's a lot easier to be able to use one module and use it on a desktop, a workstation, or a mobile device and use that same module. All enabled because we've designed Ships technology to be interoperable between different frames and modules. Next is robust. You don't have to say, okay, I need to go buy a very custom, expensive solution if I need that ruggedness. At the same time, I also need a low cost, commercial off the shelf commercial system. We've designed that robustness as native to this system. So, and you have that choice if you need that extra robustness, and you also have that interoperability. As mentioned earlier, the supportability, we've designed this to be long span, and that's a heritage here at CRU, and our promise to our customers is we support these. We have customers that call us for products that are 10 years old and you need a new cable for that, and we have that. And we're going to be doing the same thing with ships. So we're going to have the frames and the modules available for many of these programs. It's really hard to switch that system because of the way it was implemented. So you can be pretty confident that in 5 to 8 years, you can get a new module or cable or whatever you need to support the system. And lastly, and this is probably one of the most important, is it's going to be compliant. And a lot of these programs require TAA products. All of our products are TAA trade compliant, as well as meeting a number of the OEMs material requirements. For example, low hal wiring and cabling, and all of the regulatory requirements. So the full regulatory suite, the full materials regulatory suite, as well as trade compliant in every product that we build. So we believe that we have a very robust and competitive solution when it comes to removability with NVMe. So Brian, tell us about the availability.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. You touched on a couple different things already as it relates to dev kits and things like that. So out there today in the world is the QX448. That's in a dev kit, ready to go today. We can ship those now. Commercial module is available as well. We expect that rugged module to be around Q4. So we're not sure exactly of the timing, beginning or end, but that should be available for testing very soon. You mentioned the QX118. That's going to be in your 9mm optical bay. And we expect that to be at the end of Q3, as Robin mentioned. So that'll be in the dev kit as well. Oculin connectors there now. We're looking at some other different interconnects, maybe Slim SAS is one. Engineers are working on that. The M.2 motherboard, PCIe edge card are there for the kit now. And as Robin mentioned before, hot swapping as a capability, something our engineering team is working on. So there'll be another edge card there that will potentially and should offer the ability to hot swap. As on the sales side, if you guys have questions on the person to come to, I can point you in the right direction. Also, too, if you've got engineering questions, we'd love to have your feedback. As I mentioned in the beginning, we're in constant conversation with our partners, OEM partners, custom computer system builders. They are always asking for stuff. So it's like, hey, when's this form factor going to be available? When's that going to be available? Come to us, ask us. We may say no 5 out of 10 times, maybe 1 out of 10 times we'll say yes, who knows? But come to us, ask us. Our products get better by you giving us feedback. So with that, please feel free to reach out to us at any point. And Robin, you want to go ahead and wrap us up? Thanks everyone for joining.
Sure. And as Brian showed, this is a roadmap. Talk to Brian, and if you've got technologies, needs, because as I mentioned at the beginning, Ships is an evolving ecosystem and platform. We're going to be adding new products all the time to this solution. And we want to hear from you on what technologies and versions, products, compatibilities are the most important for you and or your customer. So let us know, and we'd be very happy and excited to hear from you about that. So let me conclude and again say about Ships is that, remember, Ships is a complete ecosystem and designed from the ground up to be interconnected and interoperable and certified. It's fully tested, certified, so that it takes away the pain, frustration, and challenge of having to integrate it yourself. And it's again available today. We've got dev kits. Talk to Brian or our team at CRU to get information, and we'll get that out to you, and we get those dev kits so you can start integrating it into your product or solution today. So with that, thank you guys very, very much for your time and learning about Ships.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for your presentation today. You're not done yet, so hang in there. As our audience clearly knows, NVMe SSD adoption is quickly ramping. I think Robin showed a slide to that effect early on. And, I might be biased, but clearly this platform, the SHIPS platform, which stands for Secure High Performance Storage, one of the questions that came in, is ideally suited to provide those removable capabilities and ruggedness that the industry requires. A lot of our customers have been developing those solutions in the SATA world for years, and prior to that, even previous protocols, and we'll be looking to make this transition as well. So I have some questions here for you. You've touched on these development kits, or as we call them, the dev kits, a few times. Early on, I think you talked about some documentation to help develop solutions. How do I get that? Is that something that I could have today?
So the answer is absolutely, and yes, and we're going to be adding to that documentation all the time. So we have developed a SHIPS, let's say a website portal, and we can get that information out to you about the website portal. You can register on the portal, very simple registration, and from that, it will give you access to the technical documents, including data sheets, ICDs or interface control documents, and other documents to help you integrate this technology. We also support that with the development kit. As I mentioned, the development kit is available. Give us a call and we can help you out and get that out. And what we've done with the development kit is we've literally put every kind of think of it like a chocolate sampler. We've put the products all in there that you need to be able to integrate it all in one little box. We put the modules, the frame, the cabling, and the host bus adapters ready to go, ready to develop and integrate with.
Excellent. As long as those chocolate covered caramel ones are in there, we'll be happy. So let's see, a couple other questions have come in. With this dev kit and the ICD, as you referred to it, am I restricted to standard form factor, form factors? There's a couple questions that came in around that, so I just want to help, if you could address that, Robin.
Sure.
Yeah.
So with regards to form factors, I'm assuming you're talking about form factors of the frame or the computer that receives the module. And so the answer...
I was going to say, for example, I know we've been working with a drone manufacturer in Europe who has a very bespoke implementation.
Yeah, so the simple answer is no. Our vision for SHIPS is not to be confined to the traditional 5 1/4, 3 1/2, ODD, and other formats, but to support custom formats as well. Now, initially, we kind of surveyed the market and looked and says, where are we going to get the best, let's say, initial, our first entry bang for the buck with a need out there. And so that's where we decided to go offer a 5 1/4 frame as our first. Then we realized that 9mm ODD, which is another standard. Now that can be put into devices that have that 9mm bay, but also we've had some inquiries about users that might want to use that in their own custom enclosures. So that is, let's say, number 2 in the batting order of our SHIPS. Then we have on, let's say, the drawing board, and very shortly 3 1/2. Today we offer the QX310 3 1/2, but looking to incorporate 3 1/2 into our SHIPS platform. And then with the ICD, that's where we have, and we can work with you if you have, let's say, a custom application where you want to incorporate SHIPS into a form factor that is non-standard. So let's say it's a ruggedized computer where it's shaped, so let's say it's, I'm making this up, 9 by 12, and you have a slot space of so many square inches, and you want to expose the SHIPS slot to that. We can provide you some of the dimensions, call out the tolerances necessary, as well as a connector package to enable you to populate your motherboard or other into that. if you guys if you have need assistance in some of the engineering as well as some of our manufacturer suppliers, we'd also be happy to work with you in that, because our intention is that this would be your design, but we want to provide some of that engineering work pre-done for you so you don't have to engineer it yourself.
Great, great. So let's see, we have a question around the HBAs and driver support comes in. The question is, what chipset will the HBAs utilize and how will driver support be addressed? Is it proprietary, etc.?
So certainly our intention is not to be proprietary. I think so. Our HBAs, ones that we're working with right now, I don't have all of the specific technology details, but I'll have to get back with you on that. But we are designing it off based on reference designs. It will have its own driver, host driver control in there. Be designed to work for majority environments, and we'll be managing that bus and bifurcating that bus at the card level. And our designers are working on enabling hot swap capability. Apologize, I don't have the exact chipset manufacturers, but we can certainly get that for you.
Yeah. If you want to get back in touch with us, we can facilitate a conversation with our engineering team. I mean, the concept, just like with our previous products, the concept is that these products are transparent to the application. An NVMe driver off of your OS will drive the communication to the storage module, and there's simply in the frame itself, the receiving frame, there's simply a redriver to ensure that the signal integrity is as robust as it can be. So again, pretty transparent. But again, if you want to chat with our EEs who have worked on this, we'll be happy to set that up. A couple other things. Is there an external version of the roadmap? Yes, we can get that to you all. Again, sign up on our portal, and you'll find that information. Just one more set of questions. They're sort of gravitated around the same concept. And I know, Robin, you kind of addressed this in your conversation here, but question says, I have customers who rely on solutions that undergo stringent testing before deployment, and then they standardize on those solutions for years and years. We've been doing this with the Dataport caddies. We have this new technology coming in. How long are you going to continue supporting these existing products? Because as we all know, they're going to be around for quite some time, even though the industry is making this transition. Mm-hmm.
So the answer is a long time. I can't give you an exact number of years, but let me tell you, it's going to be years and years and years. And so that's why we've taken a lot of specific consideration when we designed our system up front, the module, and wanted to make sure that we got some of the core foundations of this platform right. We wanted to make sure that we had the module standard. So we call it a 80 module. It's based on a 2280 NVMe module. We believe that is going to be the best size that offers the best balance between performance, size, and longevity and availability, as well as cost. And so that standard and the associated mating and mechanism, we designed that to be extremely robust and long lasting. So we want to support this for, as I mentioned, 5, 7, 8+ years, because we know that a number of programs, I think the person asking the question mentioned, is that when a user standardizes on a program, switching costs are extremely high. And that can be a good thing, could also be a challenge.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I think we have the track record. We support that. As you mentioned, those caddies, we will continue to offer those, and we plan to do the same with the ship systems. So that 80 module is going to be with us for some time, and our plan is to offer that module for years and years to come. And again, as I mentioned, also that's why we're designing this with PCIe Gen 4 in mind, knowing that it's not a question of if, it's when that becomes a ubiquitous standard, and ships is supporting Gen 4.
Great, great, great. So yeah, thanks again, guys, for your time this morning. That's all that we have time for today. But I would say, please stay tuned. We'll be putting word out about our next session. We have yet to formally schedule it yet, but it should take place in a few weeks. And in that session, we're going to do a little show and tell, actually, how we put the SHIPS platform products through its paces to meet PCIe compliance, as well as meet the ruggedness requirements that you and your customers all have. So again, if you'd like to know more about what we've discussed today, drop us a line or visit ships.cruinc.com. And once again, thanks for your time and be well.